One. Good morning and welcome to The Buzz, the new CIA student podcast. My name is Isaiah. I am a fifth semester culinary arts student, and I'm here with Cameron, a second semester culinary arts student. And we will be your host for today's podcast. We have the honor of speaking with Chef German Lamb for today's podcast. Chef German Lamb is a close mentor to me who has taught me the philosophy on maintaining a balanced mind, body, and soul. Chef German Lamb is a cancer survivor and an owner of Glam Foods. Without further ado, Chef Lamb.
First of all, good morning from Boston here, and I would like to thank you, CIA, for giving me this opportunity to have this little chat session. So at this moment right now, graduated from Newbury College, 84. So, you could guess what my age is if you do the math. So I have this phrase, if you love Star Wars, think of Yoda. Well, I'm looking for Jedis right now. And to me, that is a gratifying and fulfilling where you just mentioned, we connected and actually taking a young chef and now not giving, but sharing outlines and let the individual decide, hey, do I want to add this into my mise en place?
Thank you, Chef. Yes, that is so important. So let's get started. I know that maintaining a healthy lifestyle is so important to you. As a chef, how do you believe food can heal people?
You know what? That question right there, before I can even answer it, I would say we would need probably a few hours. And the reason why is, from my own personal experience, I could say this is how I approached it with fighting cancer, but then also COVID-19. And what I have learned is that food, it's about energy. So the 5 food groups. But the thing about it is, it depends on your immune system. Because think about COVID. I lost my smell, I lost my taste, and so far, that has not returned. And besides that, I work out 7 days a week. I do 4,000 sit-ups. I do my martial arts. I do my cardio. So I'm doing everything that I can imagine, and even with the food. So that taught me a lot, like, wow, now it depends on your immune system. But the thing is, you can't stop because you're not getting results that you're looking for. So one way, when you're talking about food for healing, if you don't have an open mind with the 5 food groups, then how can you accept and the rewards of the ingredients? So you can't pick and choose and say, hey, I want this food group, I don't want that food group. So I have an analogy. The 5 food groups, think about this hand. When I take it and bring them together and I embrace the food, what do I have? I have 2 fists, dude. So that means I'm able to fight the battle. So use that as an analogy when it comes to food for healing the body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah, that is so important that you mentioned the 5 food groups. I feel oftentimes we like to lean towards kind of the food groups that make us most comfortable, but I feel like having a good balance is super important to maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and especially as a chef, having a good lifestyle, a good balance, so you could be flow easily in the kitchen and have a solid mind is super important. So Cameron, do you want to move on with the next question?
Yeah, for sure. So Chef Lamb, we talked a little bit before about you just mentioned your martial arts. You're a big proponent of Bruce Lee's philosophy, be like water, kind of go with the flow. Freestyle lifestyle is what I think you mentioned. How does having that lifestyle and that mentality, what does that mean to you exactly?
Well, if you think about becoming a chef and you break it down and think about at your stage versus my stage is I have gone through the war, the battle of plenty of mistakes. You know what works. So in one way, you need someone to teach you. And think about what we're doing right now, right? Mentor to mentee. So freestyle is something that it's about thinking, it's about learning. It's like being Curious George. Your mind has to be completely open. And you talk about fluid. So for me, when you talk about martial arts, I study the art form Wing Chun. And that was developed by a nun, and that was developed by a woman. And think about this. Back in the days of the warlords in China, you have this woman who was able to defeat this Hulk. And if you think about that, she used her mind. So the yin and yang, the soft and hard. So for me, by applying these philosophies and also what Bruce Lee created, now if you think about food, in one way, food is martial arts because you learn from different chefs around the world. So they have their own methods, preparation, and technique. You as a mentee is how do you break that down and how do you bring that into your DNA of who you are, Chef Cameron, Chef Isaiah. That right there is a very challenging journey, because without a mentor along the way who planted the seed, your freestyle becomes very disruptive. And what I mean by that is no discipline, no structure, freestyle becomes a train wreck.
Yeah, that is so true. I actually touched on our next point of disciplined lifestyle, having a disciplined structure. How might young chefs and even current chefs in the industry start to develop a disciplined lifestyle?
Well, you know what? First thing, friends, because there's always, like in your group, there's always someone who had sports, music, art, meaning they have structure. And there is a form of discipline and structure. And if you have the time, sign up for a martial art course. And it doesn't matter what style you signed up, it's just the understanding of how each teacher teaches you. Because if you talk about discipline and structure, it doesn't matter like all the style, but there is respect, safety, and sanitation. So those three things right there are going to teach you what discipline and structure is. But then think about this, professionalism. So everything that you're doing, it actually comes up with another principle without you even thinking about that. So for me, discipline structure starts with you. And if you've been taught, now you share it.
Yeah, that is so true. Cameron, you want to touch on the point, like with food and emotional connection as chefs, we have so much passion and so much drive and love for food. And that's what drives most of us. So do you want to lead us to the next question?
Yeah. So you have obviously a deep emotional connection to food and what you cook and the lifestyle in which you do it. I'm just curious, in what form does that connection take place? How do you see your connection with food and how it relates to your personal life?
Well, think about this. When you're in school, the way they teach you, it's different than the way I'm sharing with you. In one way, I realized that you have to have an emotional connection. And think about this: feel, touch, smell, taste. You have to understand, where does the food come from, whether it comes from the land, whether it comes from the sea. And once you understand this, you respect the hardship from a farmer, from a fisherman, from animals. You understand what you need to do to get that ingredient to you. So when you get it, you have to look at, even though it has been butchered and fabricated to you, but then it's still alive. So what you have to do is you have to bring the love, the energy, and the life. And if you don't have that connection, you could have Kobe beef, you could have lobster, And when you taste it, you will go, where's the love? That's not cooking. Cooking is, it's like dancing. It's like theater. You have to learn how to move your body, mind, and spirit. So for me, that is the approach, and that's the philosophy that I came up with. So what I'm sharing with you, these are my beliefs right here, because I believe as a young culinarian, as you master the craft, eventually you will be the mentor, not the mentee.
Yeah, that's such a great point. It's so essential to have a connection to your food, kind of know where it came from, to have a really good understanding and love for your food. And next, one of my favorite questions: how do you create as a mentor culinary icons? This question is one of the questions that got me connected with you and really kept me attached. So, Chef, without further ado, how do you create culinary icons?
This question I love. And the reason is I never thought about saying the word icon, spelling it, using it. But now, since 6 years ago, when 2017, when my tumor came to life in my nose, I decided that I would be an icon. And the reason why I said that is that because of the challenge and the journey that I will go through in this treatment of fighting this disease. First of all, I did not know if I was going to come out alive, or better yet, if I was going to win it. So for me, I said to myself, I'm going to share my wisdom, my knowledge, my mistake of how you could be an icon in the culinary profession. And if you think about it, think about what's going on right now. COVID-19 has destroyed our industry, and people are leaving. So you have veteran chefs, amazing skills, they're leaving because the game has changed, but also it's a beautiful profession. So by me sharing with my philosophy, what it does is it gives you a game plan. That means you make yourself better, but then you make Cameron better. And if Isaiah is better than Cameron, it's not because Isaiah was this talented individual. It was that Cameron had the love to say, Isaiah, let me show you. And that's what cooking really is all about. So when you talk about icon, it's about sharing what you have with people around you in the industry. And by doing that, now each individual can be an icon in their life journey. So that's why I use the word icon in our industry, because we need it more than ever. Think about it.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful sort of sentiment. I think it's really important to have those kinds of icons, like you're talking about, those mentors that can bring people up into that iconiture, whatever you want to call it. But I would like to circle back just for a minute. You talked a little bit about your lifestyle, or rather, how food can be part of your healthy lifestyle with martial arts and stuff like that. Um, how do you form good habits using this Bruce Lee, Wing Chun, go with the flow lifestyle?
Well, first of all, bad habits comes from the circle that you are in. You do not create bad habits. You know, whether it's drinking, whether it's drug, or whether it's unhealthy food, because you know what clean is. It just happens that the people in your circle are not clean. And for me, during my whole journey, I always met other chefs that enjoy working out, enjoy martial arts. And for me, working at the Ritz-Carlton Boston Hotel, I graduated from Newbury College and I met someone. And to this day, he is my dragon brother, you know, my dragon warrior brother. And also he's a graduate of CIA. So to me, we shared so much, and people went out to eat, drink, party. Guess what we did? We went to the gym, we went to a place where there was a bag, there was a wooden dummy, and we just jammed. So to me, it's something that what you give, it gives back, because that's what the body, mind, and spirit does, especially the food. And after, when we finished working out, we ate. We ate food that would nourish our soul again, so we could actually go back to work, have a focus, have structure and discipline, and the detail of what needs to happen. Because all these connection is part of food.
Yeah, that is so true. Like who you surround yourself with is super important, and it just who you hang out with is who you become essentially. So that is a great point that you brought up. So as you mentioned before, you are the Jedi or you are the Yoda for all these Jedis.
No, you're right. I was a Jedi
The
30
Jedi,
years ago.
yeah,
Now I am Yoda.
you're the Yoda. So how do you see yourself in the future? Like, how do you believe you will impact other young chefs and inspire more young chefs like me?
We created history together at this moment with this podcast. Because from my objective is, think about the culinary schools. I see myself as a commencement guest speaker, because my viewpoint is different, but is real and unique and practical. So for me in cooking right now, you have to have these elements in there. So think about the microwave. Microwave is a beautiful machine if you respect it and you know how to use it with the traditional cooking. Now you have TNT, right? But if you just take the traditional method and don't include the microwave technology, guess what happens? You're back in the caveman era, So for me, it's saying in this industry, if you really think about it, the white jacket is a powerful statement. We're physicians, we're scientists, we're nutritionists, we're engineers, we're athletes, we're artists, because your mind is thinking so many different ways. And for me, everything that I shared with you, I created this from all the other skills that are out there. So for me, that's what we do, right? We solve problems. So think about that. That white jacket that you're wearing right now, it's a powerful statement, but someone has to teach you the principle of what that responsibility of wearing that white jacket is.
So, Chef, I'm just going to come out and say it. How do you turn failures into successes? How do you take a bad day at the kitchen where everything goes wrong, you're late on everything, and you can't get your team together, you can't get everybody to work cohesively? How do you turn a scenario like that into a success, and how can you do that moving forward?
That question right there, I'm going to reverse it. And how I'm going to reverse it is this. I graduated 1984 from Newbury College. I worked at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. I interviewed for a position. You know what that position was? They said, the only position we have currently is a food cafeteria employee working at the dining room for the employees. Imagine that you're a culinary school, you graduate, you're ready to rock, you're ready to cook. And someone says to you, oh yeah, we're gonna put you in the employee cafeteria for the employees. For whatever reason, I said yes. So I took something that was from the bottom of the ladder. And in the next 4 years, what happened was I had mentors that taught me what cooking was, how to be a professional chef. All the mistakes that I made, they corrected me. And you know why they corrected me? I was like, they cared. Because they saw this culinary student go right to the employee then. So I was making grilled cheese, I was making hamburgers, I was taking frozen meals, taking out of the box, put it, into the steamer, heating it up. So think about how discouraging that is. But because of my attitude, so when you talk about failures, don't think about failure. If you failed, that means the chef, the sous chefs, the co-workers failed you. Because to be successful, I just said to you about my journey at the Ritz. In 4 years, I did something like, oh my God, I was carving ice, I was carving fruit, making sauces, making pâtés, hot cold side. I was like, and I didn't know anything about what French cuisine was. So to me, instead of saying the word failure, for you to succeed, you need Isaiah to open arm and say, I'm going to teach you, Cameron. Because without Isaiah doing that, you fail. So you didn't fail because you have the work ethic, you have the commitment, you have the focus. So you need humans. So that's the way I would answer that question to you. So it's something different, but right now I look at failure, not because of I couldn't do it, because my team, for whatever reason, were they jealous of me? Or did they resent me? Did they want to see me fail? And yeah, and that happens in the kitchen, right? I mean, things happen. You get sabotaged. So, but that's reality right there. So that would be my comment of that question right there.
Yeah, that's such a good perspective from it. Turning failures or things that might not go your way into your direction and looking at it from a positive outlook is super, super important. So, Chef, this has been amazing. To wrap it up really quick, tell us a little bit about your book.
Oh, my book is called The Dragon Turns to Water, Chef Jeremy Lamb Fights Cancer with a Freestyle Lifestyle. It is on Amazon. It's an ebook. It's a great story. So instead of me writing a cookbook, I said to myself, there are an amazing chef out there. I can't be in that game because people are smarter than me. They have amazing degrees. How am I going to compete in that market? So in one way, the competitiveness in me is like in sports. I want to win all the time. So I said to myself, I'm going to write a book about how I approach cancer when it came at me. And I realized something. It's about life and death. And it's about how I took on this challenge with the culinary arts, with my Wing Chun martial arts, with all the principles that I have learned. And I did it in a way that I'm here. Think about this right here. So one way, that is like the biggest personal accomplishment for me. So by you reading this book, hopefully it would turn on the switch and teach you that how much knowledge and wisdom you have in there to solve a problem, and especially when you're getting lemons thrown at you.
Yeah, that is super important. Your book will inspire many. Thank you, Chef, for this opportunity to have talked with you. It has been a great podcast. I really appreciate this time. You are going to create many icons from this. So I thank you so, so much, Chef. Cameron, any last words?
No, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, Chef Lamb. You're definitely an icon in the industry as far as I'm concerned. And I look forward to whatever you're going to do next. And we'll be hopefully keeping a close eye on what you got coming down the pipe.
Well, Chef Isaiah and Chef Cameron and the CIA, thank you for this time.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Chef. Have a great day.